Oh, yes, Thursday edition of Orange and Blue Today. It's Cecil Lammy, it's Andrew Mason, and Mace feels like we're back on schedule because we actually got to go out to Broncos Park powered by Common Spirit. You saw practice. We were there for the podium and the locker room. And yeah, this Philadelphia game, man, measuring stick, huge test. I absolutely love it because we're going to get more information about the Denver Broncos, and it's going to be against an undefeated world champion.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a little bit of bristling at the phrase measuring stick on Thursday, but at the same time, there was a healthy recognizance that, look, this is the type of game that you have to win if you're going to be accepted as one of the big boys. If you're going to be a true contender, you have to win this type of game, and they've lost a couple of games on the road earlier this season, and they fell short in Cincinnati last year, and they got throttled in Buffalo in the playoffs. They got throttled at Baltimore last year at midseason. They fell short at Kansas City. They fell short against the Chargers last December. So they know, okay, we talked about this on Wednesday. They know that they lack wins in this type of situation here. I think that's probably at the front of their minds right now, that they need to win a game like this if they are to be taken seriously as contenders. If they are to be viable contenders, at some point they've got to start winning games like these. And so here's another opportunity, just like the one that they had a week and a half ago out in Los Angeles, that, as Bo Nix was caught on camera when saying, if you read his lips, he had so many chances. The team had so many chances in that game and they couldn't cash in. Well, here's another chance in the game, and probably a game that will present them with plenty of chances if the Eagles keep playing the way they're playing.
Oh, 1,000% against an undefeated team that can win ugly, that likes to win ugly, that has no problem and no stress. Mace, it holds true for a lot of games, so I'm not like breaking ground here saying this. But when I look at this contest, it comes down to like 3 or 4 plays. There's going to be 3 or 4 plays that really are like, that gets them over the top. Some sort of deep shot from Bo. Bo did answer that for me today when I asked him, like, what do you think going over Fangio's defense? And he's like, when you get your shots, you got to hit them. That means deep shots. So this is going to be a hard-fought game, contested game, and I think a tighter game, a closer game than maybe some do.
You got to hit the deep shots because, one thing, and you remember this when Vic Fangio was here, I mean, sometimes that defense will bend at areas of the field, but it'll clamp you down in the red zone, right? I mean,
right.
So if you're going to get it in the end zone, sometimes you've got to get it from outside because it's going to be tough to get those last 10 yards on this defense. I mean, just ask Tampa Bay last week, trying to get those last few yards and then get a hand on a pass as Baker Mayfield's rolling right, get picked off in the end zone. I mean, they make it very tough on you to finish, even though this is a defense that personnel-wise doesn't look much like the one that they had last year, and I think that's led to some of the struggles that they've had. It's still a D that can rally up and get the job done. So it's, like we've said, very resourceful team, a team that does find ways to win, kind of like Kansas City did last year. And I think that was something Jonathan Cooper said in the locker room on Thursday, was like, it's, you've got to be on point, and you have to know that it's everything that you have to have right. And that was one of the lessons he said they got from games like the Kansas City game last year. That's got to be everything, because of course that game they thought they had, but then it was lost at the end on the block kick when KC saw the weakness and exploited it. It was the reminder that, okay, everything has to be right to finish off an opponent like this, because they might find a weakness in an area that seems to be something that, maybe it's a little detail, but it can be a big thing that makes the difference. And so that's something that, you've heard about attention to detail last week after the penalties. Well, now there's a focus on attention to detail this week, but it's for a different type of reason.
Yeah, it's attention to detail, and it's attention to what Bo Nix likes to do best. I believe it was our pal Mick Miller that asked the question of like, hey, what's Bo's favorite? You know what I mean? And I thought it was fascinating because we're a month in. these guys are figuring stuff out in year 2 with Bo Nix, and Sean Payton's answer was almost immediate as to what Bo Nix likes to do. And Mace, I kind of like the answer.
Yeah, let's play that.
He likes tempo. Tempo to the line. Certainly, last week I think we had 2 or 3 third down conversions with tempo. When he's at the line with 26 seconds now instead of breaking the huddle with 8. So, we, you adapt because that's something that a lot of these college quarterbacks are, and reducing the verbiage and getting to where we can call plays with just one name, one syllable. Those are some of the things that have changed.
Go up tempo. And
I like that. Control it.
Yes. Peyton Manning liked going up tempo as well. But I think
Hurry.
This is the thing. He wants to go up tempo and he wants to get those snaps early. And for Sean Payton, this means adjustment because Sean Payton likes to have a lot of substitutions and a lot of things changing from play to play, which does not lend itself to going up tempo. When he's making all those changes to get the right personnel for the specific play that he wants to call, that slows it down, and that's where sometimes you see the play clock going down to 5, 4, 3 because you got to get the subs in. And, of course, you've got the wordier play call, so that's another thing. We talked about that about a month and a half ago because that was something that Peyton did mention during training camp, that some of the play calls were shrunk, some of the verbiage was shrunk to favor what Bo Nix was looking for, and that was a change that he had made in terms of how he was going about things. So credit to Sean Payton for tweaking things to fit what his quarterback wants. That's what good coaches do, adjust to the talents and capabilities and strengths of their players. And that's what he's doing here. But the thing is, when you go up tempo, it's a balancing act, because if you do go up tempo and you are going more quickly, you are increasing the exposures for your defense. And while we've seen some terrific performances for the D against teams quarterbacked by Cam Ward, Jake Browning, Carson Wentz with the JV Chiefs last January, Anthony Richardson, we've also seen when the Broncos have gone on the road against Josh Allen-led Bills, Joe Burrow-led Bengals, even the Daniel Jones-led Colts, although I think I saw Bill Barnwell, didn't he have him number 2 in his early MVP race so far this season? Yes. And the Justin Herbert-led Chargers, that the defense has been exposed a bit. So you can see it's a balancing act. Bo Nix, wants to go up tempo, but you can't go up tempo all the time because you do still want to minimize defensive exposures, especially against an Eagles offense that is struggling but has plenty of weapons. And we've seen this Broncos D have trouble against teams that have a multitude of weapons and have kind of the pick your poison equation like Philadelphia does.
Yeah, Philadelphia, they're winning ugly now. It doesn't mean that they can't hit on all cylinders and look like they did last year. And you don't want that to happen against you if you're Denver. If you're Bo Nix, another thing, chat room's talking about it as well. When you go up tempo, as you mentioned, Mace, fewer substitutions or no substitutions, and a back gets a drive. Yeah. RJ gets a drive. JK gets a drive. And I really like that sort of fast break mentality, especially when those backs are trying to get into a rhythm.
Yeah, and I think maybe you do that even with the receivers as well. You leave Cortland Sutton out there, but you leave Troy Franklin out there. You leave Pat Bryant out there for a series, right? This is also, if you do this, it means you've got to trust everybody you've got, right? That means you trust your top receivers, but it means you trust receivers 4 and even 5, because it means you might give some extended work to Trent Sherfield, because it might be a Trent Sherfield series. Maybe it's going to be maybe you're going to go 11 personnel, and you're going to say, okay, one of the 3 receivers on this series is going to be Pat Bryant. You trust him as a blocker, but you want to see him come along as a target. Give him this run, and you can go up tempo and leave him out there. So it all comes down to having guys that you can trust and leave out there to do the work, and also make sure they're multifaceted enough to do it. So that's why I bring that up, because at the tight end position, Evan Ingram has talked about wanting to do the dirty work as a blocker and how he's worked on that. Now he's more of an in-space tight end, but do you want to see him maybe get a snap count up? And he's willing to do the work as a blocker. Okay, if you're going up-tempo, which means up-tempo, you're not subbing in and out, do you maybe expand the menu for Evan Ingram a bit and let him go in line from time to time, something he hasn't done very often, but he has done occasionally over the course of his career. Maybe see if he's not a liability there as a blocker, and then if you can move him inside, that expands the possibilities for your offense, and then you can go up-tempo with the tight end and leave him out there as well.
And I love it with this Broncos offensive line. You should at least give Ingram, a seasoned veteran, that chance to prove himself in line.
Yes. I mean, hey, right now you have, according to ESPN Analytics, offensive tackles 1 and 3 in pass block win rate. Garrett Bowles number 1, Mike McGlinchey number 3. So why not take that for a spin?
Yeah, take it for a spin. Get Ingram out there a little bit more.
Yeah, I'll give credit, by the way. Garrett Bowles, I brought that up to him. The
GB zone?
Yes. He was very modest about it. Like, he's like I said, is that something that comes up? Is that something you think about? And he's like, no, I'm focusing on, protecting the quarterback, this and that. He gave the answer that you would expect him to give. I thought it was worth asking, but he gave the type of answer that you would expect him to give, focusing on the job and the task at hand. But really, really cool to kind of see him getting his plaudits right now for a very strong start to the season. By the way, it's very interesting that you see Garrett Bowles, number 1 in pass block win rate, and you see Nick Bonito, who's atop the charts in pass rush analytics as well. And those two go up against each other in training camp day after day after day. So think about the whole iron sharpens iron thing with the two of them. And very much that they're facing each other rep after rep after rep, and they really have pushed each other and gotten each other better to the point where at this moment right now, they're atop the league in what each of them does. That's really cool.
I think it's fantastic, and credit to both, that is for sure. I have something I'm very excited about that is not a tell for the Broncos offense, but first, a word from our sponsor.
Today's episode of Orange and Blue Today is presented by Ramos Law, the official injury law firm partner of the Denver Broncos. Ramos Law was founded by Dr. Joseph Ramos, an attorney and ER doctor, to provide exceptional care to those injured in accidents. With a unique understanding of both medicine and law, the Ramos Law team is built to fight for you every step of the way. Experience the Ramos Law difference. Contact them today at ramoslaw.com.
I really like that RJ Harvey being out there as an Natel Mace.
Yeah.
Like, we appreciate Jaleel McLaughlin, but a couple years ago when he was a rookie, we had noticed that.
Yeah.
Like, RJ Harvey has put in the work to make the coaches happy enough to trust him with a full series and a full drive that obviously he's not getting the ball every time he's out there.
Yeah, that's important. And it means that it's going to open up things for him, because now you're not going to see defenses instantly say, oh, he's getting the ball. That was the big thing with Jaleel, as things went on a couple of years ago, that defenses realized, okay, odds are he's getting the football on this play when he checks in. And if that's not the case for RJ, then he's going to be able to do some good things out there, because they're going to be able to take a chance of misdirection and things like that. So it's exciting. It was very exciting to see him get involved in the pass game as he did last week as well, because that's the high ceiling thing with RJ. It was one of the things that the Broncos were really excited about as they broke him down, was his potential as a pass catcher, even though he didn't have huge pass catching numbers at Central Florida because they didn't use him that often. They still okay, there's a skill set here that we want to refine and polish and develop. There's some raw talent, but it just hasn't been used yet. So there was a projection that they had on RJ, and for the first time Monday night, you actually saw the manifestation of that projection start to happen. And so it's one of those things that it's probably got a significant long-term impact. Maybe that could be the thing that long term has the biggest impact out of Monday night's game is what we started to see from RJ as a pass catcher and what we started to see from him as an every down back.
What do you think about the odd couple? Are we an odd couple?
I mean, like, what are you going? Where are you trying to get at
The old
here?
TV show.
Oh.
I'm thinking about Sean and Bo because we're talking about tempo, right? It's Bo's favorite.
Yeah.
But then Sean, was it another question? I think it was another question, right? Where Sean's like, whoa, young fella, young buck. So it's the way you work together, right?
Well, here's
back and forth.
Well, he offered the kind of the counter to that, like the follow-up question. Here's what he said.
Yeah, I may not want tempo. My defense might be tired. So if I'm going tempo, I want to be able to control that.
There you go.
There's so much more he wants to say. That pause was like, I could tell you everything, or I could just say, I may want to go tempo.
Yes. Like he may not want it.
Yeah.
But it's also acknowledging that he's trying to coach the whole team here. Like,
right.
You may see it Sunday. Like if the Eagles offense figures it out, and we've talked about this, and, Dallas Goedert did practice today after being a DNP on Wednesday. Goddard, by the way, 3 touchdowns in the last couple of games. So he's already surpassed his touchdown total from last year just in the last 2 weeks. So with that, if you figure the Eagles are going to test the Broncos inside linebackers, I think that's pretty obvious that's what they're going to try to pick at.
Yep.
They're going to test the inside linebackers, and as great a pass rusher as Nick Bonito is, they're probably going to try to run at him because he's okay. He's better as a run defender than he ever has been, but it's still not his plus attribute. So they're probably going to try to pick at that a little bit. And Broncos are going to have to be ready. The Broncos are going to have to be ready for that. Doesn't appear as if they'll have Malcolm Roach back, by the way, for this game because he did not practice today. The Broncos did not start the 21-day window that they can have on Malcolm Roach to return from injured reserve. He was still over on the side field, so it looks like it's going to be status quo for the defensive line in this game. And so, you were hoping, I think we were all hoping that you'd see Malcolm Roach back from the calf strain in this game, but if you didn't see him on the practice field today, it doesn't seem like we're going to see him on Sunday, and I would imagine probably not against the Jets in London. I don't know that they want to have Malcolm Roach making his debut on turf. That game at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is going to be on turf. So I'd say probably you might be waiting a little bit longer on Malcolm. So
yeah,
that's if the D is on its heels as it has been in its last 4 road games, really. The Colts, the Chargers, actually the last 5 road games. Chargers, Colts this year, Bills, Chargers, Bengals last year. Then Sean Payton's probably not going to want to go tempo because he's going to want to minimize his defensive exposures. So This is where kind of coaching the whole team comes into play. Like, hey, I want to do right by my quarterback, but if my defense is having another game like it had against Buffalo or it had against Indianapolis or it had against the Bengals last year, where like the Bengals, they didn't force a punt until overtime. Buffalo only 1 punt forced. Indianapolis early this year didn't force a punt at all. If it's a game that's flowing like that, then he's going to be like, no, I really can't go tempo because I've got to minimize my defense being out there. Like you've got to, that's where you have to be pragmatic and say, okay, I can't put my defense in a situation where they're, where my offense is scoring, but the defense is going right back out there. So that's, ideally you'd want to do the right thing. You'd want to do everything for Bo Nix and give him the ideal situation. But what if that's the wrong thing for your D? That's the balancing act that you have to have here.
Yeah. Walking a tightrope.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of tightrope, because Nate Adkins had tightrope surgery back in August, coming back from the ankle injury.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you. A nice segue there. Nate Adkins, coming back from the concussion, he was on the field today for practice. So that's a good sign as he works his way through the post-concussion protocol. Was on the field, had a helmet on, saw him going through the individual period. So that's a pretty significant step as he works his way back through the protocol.
Super quick, Mace, and we could do a whole series of shows on him. It's not probably algorithm friendly, but you mentioned status quo on the defensive line, and my mind went, as long as it means Savion Jones is out there.
Yeah.
We didn't get to really recap the Monday night game as much, but Savion Jones, it's there.
Yeah.
It's there. Something's there.
It is. Like,
Love it.
he's a hellraiser out there.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, always getting penetration, always quick off the line. Like, he's something to deal with.
I've made the Malik Jackson comp,
I like that.
and went way back at draft time. I think he's Malik Jackson, but his development is a year ahead of Malik's pace. Malik really didn't start doing a lot of things in terms of positive contribution until about midway through his second season, and then really into his third year. And Savion's well ahead of that pace, and it's probably why the reality of things as far as contracts go is that you can probably see where this is going, even though John Franklin Myers has played pretty well last couple of games, and it's a good problem to have in terms of what the Broncos possess on the defensive line. It certainly seems to be trending toward Savion Jones sliding into one of those starting spots next year, because if you are trying to balance overall team building and the contracts you have and the big numbers coming up for Zach Allen in the forthcoming years after his extension, you're going to need some cost-controlled players in that position group in the front seven, and Savion Jones is going to fit that bill.
Yeah, he's going to fit that bill. He's going to do some fantastic things for the Denver Broncos, and we are going to be excited to talk about it. It is Orange and Blue today. Cecil Lammy, Andrew Mason, Frosty and Saucy is what they call us. And some people got the odd couple reference.
Yeah.
It's an older reference. It's an older code, but it seemed to have worked. I misquoted Star Wars. Damn it. I need to watch Star Wars.
It's an older code, sir, but it checks out. I was about to clear them.
Out. There you go. Checks out. I was about to clear them. Okay.
Should I hold? No. Leave them to me.
I love it.
I mean, I love it how he says like leave them to me. He
knows.
You wonder what Admiral Piet was thinking. Like, okay, like
I just don't want to get force choked.
Yeah, like whatever it is, he's letting them through. Whatever. Okay, boss.
It was Admiral Oswald that got choked out.
Oswald got force choked.
Yes.
And then Captain Piet became Admiral Piet. I mean, you say thank you, Lord Vader, and yeah, your superior officer's dead right there on the floor.
Yeah. Hey, Darth Vader. He's gonna do Darth Vader stuff.
Yeah.
We're gonna do Broncos stuff and talk a little Star Wars from time to time. That's what we do on this program. He is Andrew Mason. I am Cecil Lammy, OBT. We're out here, Mace. How can folks help us out on YouTube?
Like,
comment,
share,
subscribe,
hit that notification bell,
so that you
never miss
vid. That's right. He's Andrew Mason on all the socials at Mace Denver. I'm at Cecil Lammy saying OBT's BFD. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and would you please stay frosty?
For over 20 years, my family, like so many of you, has proudly been part of Broncos Country.
Every season, we feel the energy, passion, and commitment that defines this team.
And now we are honored to be the official injury law firm partner of the Denver Broncos.
Ramos